You saw the title, you clicked on the video, you know what I'm talking about today. Yeah, I like K-Round. I think they're pretty cool. And if you think this video is pretty cool, like it to help me out with the algorithm. Anyways, let's start with what happens before the fight, because we have to start with something. When you first see K-Round, it isn't K-Round, it's C-Round. Look at them. They're such a tiny little guy. The fight with C-Round is used to introduce the warning mechanic, and Susie being unwilling to act until later in the chapter. If you do anything except for warning, Susie will deal over 500 damage to it in a single hit, which is a bit overkill, since it only has 10 HP. Luckily, it's one of the few enemies that does not affect which ending you get at the end of Chapter 1, so whatever you do, you won't have to worry about it. Also, if you warn it, C-Round has special flavor text mentioning how it barely understands your warning. Okay, let's talk about K-Round's fight. The build-up is pretty good. Lancer makes it seem like you're about to fight a destroyer of worlds, only to find the enemy that you've previously one-shotted. But then double psych, it's something worse than a destroyer of worlds, it's K-Round. K-Round's victory conditions require you to get the crown off its head, which can be done through bow, giving 15% progress, or deep bow, giving 20% progress, but requiring Rousey's turn. Deep bow is the best option because Rousey can't do anything else to loosen the crown, although if you need to heal, just bow with Chris. K-Round is very simple to beat due to none of its 4 attacks being difficult to dodge, and being able to end the fight without it even getting 4 attacks in due to taking a turn to heal. Speaking of healing, when it first gets to 1000 HP, it heals with almond milk and buffs its attack slightly. This mechanic, combined with K-Round being fully immune to warning, is there to make Susie attacking it a problem, and to make acting your only choice of problem solving. After a bit more traveling, you make it to the castle where, right before you fight King, you are treated to a surprise rematch with K-Round by Ra'u Excel's Kakard A himself. Wow, I have so much trouble pronouncing that name. If only there was some sort of soundtrack from Deltarune Chapter 2 that could help me out here. In this fight, K-Round's attack is slightly higher because Susie will no longer trigger almond milk by attacking it. However, despite this change, the fight is much easier than the first due to Susie's idea. Both of the Rudin Rangers and the Head Hathies from prior floors share a motif, involving Susie now being part of the team, and K-Round finishes off this idea quite nicely as Susie's unconventional technique of throwing Rousey at its crown is much more helpful than Deep Bow, giving 35% mercy maximum instead of 20%. Also, the crown on its head is replaced with Control Crown, which can mind control any disc-shaped life form despite it looking the exact same as before. This could either be a funny one-off joke or master-level foreshadowing. Hey, I'm interrupting this for a brief second to ask you to subscribe if you enjoy the video. I'm trying to grow my channel, and subscribing does a huge favor by putting me in good graces with the YouTube algorithm. But enough talk. Just what am I getting at here? Look, I've played plenty of RPGs. They're my favorite game genre after all. Out of all of the games shown, I found most of them to have good first bosses, but Deltarune's K-Round is by far my favorite. First of all, it is established as the most dangerous thing you've faced thus far, being stronger than other enemies you've faced prior to it lore-wise and gameplay-wise, but it also gets power creep by the end of the chapter, making bosses you fight after seem even more threatening. Its attacks, while simplistic, can be intimidating for first-time players, considering that Lancer literally says that it involves crushing people to death, and its first attack involves crushing you. As for plot and story, it's introduced as what seems like a one-time gag character, only to come back twice in Chapter 1. In Chapter 2, it doesn't do much, it's just an interactable NPC. That being said, that's more than you can say about most of the first bosses I just mentioned. If I were to compare the bosses of Chapter 1 to the bosses of Chapter 2, Chapter 2 would win by a mile. But if I were to compare every boss in Deltarune, K-Round would come out on top. Why? I don't know. Even with all that I've said already, there's still something about K-Round that I just can't put into words. It might be a real easy fight, it might not be a plot-relevant character, but it's still my favorite. Also, my second place pick is Mao's Wheel, so that should tell you something about my perplexing taste in bosses. Also, K-Round is the only enemy to not talk. For some reason, this just makes me like it even more. I did not make this video to get views. If I wanted that, I would have covered something that actually matters to Deltarune, like who the knight is, or what Deltarune's ending could possibly be. I mean, I haven't even talked about Gaster yet. In all honesty, I don't want to make any more Deltarune theories until Chapter 3 and 4 release, as having my theory being proven wrong a week after making it wouldn't feel that great. I do have something interesting planned for early April, although it certainly won't be a theory. I also plan to stream Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4 once they come out, which will hopefully be at an ideal time for me. I assume that I'll start figuring out my stream schedule once the release date drops. Speaking of that, expect an unscripted video reacting to the Deltarune trailer whenever it comes out. Unless there is no trailer, which I doubt. Well, with that said, I've covered everything I need to cover, so until next time. Let's name that one Deltarune OST. Oh, you're still here? Okay, so in my last video I hid 3 Gokus because I thought it would be funny. I only hid 1 this time, but if people like this, I can keep doing it.